Hello everyone, welcome back. I've seen a few comments and I thought I'd do this video just to address them. It's all to do with the live stream yesterday and the overall situation with regard to Graham Moore. There was a handful of comments following the live stream yesterday, which you can go and watch at your leisure, by the way, which basically said along the lines of, what have we actually won? So I thought what I'd do is just do this one last video, just to go through the entire timeline of events right up until this current moment in time. So everybody, I hope, if I explain it well enough, understands exactly where we are. So let's start at the election at Runcorn Helsby. We obviously know that Sarah Petition was returned as the Member of Parliament for Reform for Runcorn Helsby. At that election, there was cheating going on. Now, what we're going to do with that cheating for the time being is call it alleged, because there's not a decision in the court which certifies the fact that there was cheating going on. I have seen evidence, I have seen things, but, you know, it's not the proper thing to disclose any more than you really should. Anybody that stands in an election or anybody that votes in an election is allowed to call what they call an election petition hearing if they suspect or they have seen any kind of fraudulent activity going on. Now, this is something that's been widespread and endemic in our election processes for years. Graham Moore of the English Constitution Party decided to call an election petition hearing based on what he saw and what he did. And it's very important straight away to realise is this isn't sour grapes, because there was election interference going on before the election actually took place. And there's documentary proof of this with emails and various other things. Anyway, when you call an election petition hearing, you've got to serve notice of that hearing on the individual that was returned as the MP, in this case Sarah Petition, and the returning officer, and also the Royal Mail and the Chief Constable of the local police force was pulled into this as well. I'm not going to go through in this video and say exactly why with each individual, but the main ones are, for the benefit of this, are Sarah Petition and the returning officer. There was a case management hearing. In fact, there was 2 case management hearings. The net result was that they approved the commencement of an election petition hearing, which is going to be happening next week in Chester. At that election petition hearing, evidence will be heard, people will be effectively prosecuted, and what you have to think is that this is very, very serious. If it's proven that there has been any fraudulent activity, people could end up in jail. That's how serious it is. Anyway, before this election petition hearing was allowed to take place, Sarah Petition and the returning officer, their side, applied for and were granted permission for what you would call an expedited appeal. That happened at the Royal Courts of Justice in London on the 16th of October. I was present at that hearing. Now, at that hearing, what they were trying to do was get the election petition hearing next week cancelled, effectively get the case struck off because of a technicality. And what that technicality was, they were trying to say that Graham didn't file the election petition in the proper way. There is a very strict procedure you have to follow. Well, they lost and we won. Now, the reason I say we won is because that appeal on the 16th of October was dismissed. Now, what that basically means and what that has the effect of is that the election petition hearing next week is now allowed to go ahead. I will be going up on Sunday. I'll be leaving my place Sunday morning and I'll be travelling up to Chester. I've already made arrangements to meet somebody up there to discuss a few bits and pieces, so it's going to be busy. The court case will take place from Monday, and there has been 3 days allocated for it: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Witnesses will be called, evidence will be presented, judgments will be made. It's actually a proper everyday trial, and it's basically Graham against the state. It's what you would call, or what is called in old parlance, a court of common plea. It's not something you hear very regularly these days, and it's actually a proper common law court, because at the end of the day, the ability to vote in free elections is one of our common law rights, one of our God-given rights that shouldn't be taken away from us. So I hope and pray that that explains the timeline from the vote that happened in Runcorn and Helsby right up until the present day. Now, what you have to understand is that when we say we won, it's the individual cases each time. So the initial case management hearing where Graham was granted permission to have the trial, we won. It was a victory for Graham. When the other side tried to appeal that decision to get the hearing dismissed on a technicality and they failed, it means we won. So now what will happen next week, we'll have this 3-day trial, and hopefully we will have a situation again where it's a case of we won. I will record as much as I can. I will get as much live stream footage as I can of the court, the surrounding areas, a report briefly on what's happened every day. I'll try and live tweet things if I can. I will do everything in my power to give you as much information as I possibly can on events and what's happening up there. It's going to be a very busy, very intense few days. Not something I've ever done before. I'm actually looking forward to it. I've been, I think the furthest north I've ever been is something like Leicester. No, tell a lie, Yorkshire actually. I went to Yorkshire many years ago, probably about 10 years ago now. And that's the furthest north I've ever been. So getting near kind of Runcorn and Helsby will be an experience. Booked into a hotel, everything else, you know, costs a lot of money to get up there, but it's something that I've been with from the beginning, and I need to see this through to the end. The mainstream media are now starting to talk about it, but you know what they're like. I need to be there. I need to see that a truthful element of this is injected and people understand and know what's really going on. Anybody that's there, or anybody that gets up there and you see me, come say hi. Be good to meet you. And hopefully all the best to Graham, and we'll see where this takes us. Anyway, please share this. I hope those that weren't sure what we have actually won, this answers the question. Subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Toodaloo.